So today we're going to start working with systems of inequalities, which is really just putting what we did last class, which was inequalities, graphing inequalities, and what we did really for the last couple of weeks, systems of equations. We're kind of merging those two topics. So a system of inequalities will just be two or more, but in our case two inequalities put on the same graph. The biggest thing I want you to remember about inequalities, and this is whether it's a linear inequality or just a single variable inequality, is the rule about inequalities of what do you have to do if you're dividing by a negative. So when you're solving for an inequality, whether it's a linear one or a single variable, if you end up dividing by a negative number, you must flip the direction of your inequality. This is the golden main rule of inequalities. So I want everyone to circle that, get that starred and highlighted. The other thing to remind you of or to remember from last class is what kind of lines we use. We use both dashed, sometimes called dotted lines, I use them interchangeably, or solid lines. For a dashed or a dotted line, you have to have either a greater than or an equal to sign. A greater than or a less than sign. Notice that there is no equal to sign in either one of these. So to be a dashed line means there's no equal to sign with it. And then if you look at the solid ones, a solid line does indeed contain the equal to sign. So the way to remember it is if it's got the little equal to sign, it's going to make a solid line. And then we also talked about above and below. Above is if we shade above for greater than, below for less than. And a good way to remember this is use the greater than symbol as your B for above. We'll go ahead and put a line through it so it looks like a B. And for below, you're going to use your less than symbol as the L. So that's above and below. That sometimes helps people. Okay, so if we're looking at this very first practice, all it's giving us is an inequality, and it's asking, is this point a solution to this system of inequalities? So in order to be a solution, this point has to make both of these inequalities true. Now there's two ways to approach it. Either you can put them both in the calculator and shade them in the calculator, and then just go to the point 2, 3 and see if it's in the double shaded spot. That's one way to do it. The other way is the way I'm going to show you right now, which is to just substitute in the 2, 3 for x and y in each equation and see if they're still both true. So to substitute in, I'm going to do the y, so I'm just doing my parentheses, greater than or equal to x plus 4. So I've just taken this first equation, and instead of the y I've done parentheses, and instead of the x I've done parentheses. Now I can plug in. My y is going to go there, it's a 3, and my x is going to go there. So what I've got is 3 is greater than or equal to 2 plus 4 is 6. Now is that true? Well, no, that's not true. So that is not a solution. Okay, you do the same thing. Check the point 0, 4. So go ahead and just pause the video, check it on your own, and then start it up to make sure you got it right. Okay, yes, it was a solution. Now we're going to look at one of the ways that they will definitely test you on systems of inequalities is they'll go ahead and draw the two lines, and you'll be tasked with shading them correctly and then determining which one of the regions has the double shading or the solution. So you'll notice we have region 1, 2, 3, and 4. The question on this is which one of these regions is the solution to this system of inequalities. So we're going to start with our very first equation, And the question is that going to be a solid line or a dotted line? So the key is to look right here at the inequality sign, and it's got an equal to at the bottom. That makes this the solid line. So we're going to go to our solid line, that's this guy right here. And now we have to decide, are we shading above or below? Again, we look at this. This is greater than or equal to, so we're shading above. So the trick to figuring out which way above is, because it's kind of difficult when the lines get more steep, is put your pencil actually on the solid line. And since we're going above, I'm going to draw straight up. That tells me that that is the side of the line that's considered above. Now from there I can just shade everything that's on that side of the line. Okay, my second equation, I expected it to be a dotted line because there's no equals to under here, under my inequality. And because of this, it says it's going to be greater than, so again we're going to shade above. So I'm going to put my pencil on the dotted line, and I'm shading above, so I'm going to draw a line straight up. That shows me the side of the dotted line to shade on. And now I'm just going to shade everything on that side of the line. And if you'll notice that right up there in region number 2, I have both blue shading and red shading. So this area all up in here, that is my solution to this inequality, the system of inequalities. Okay, let's do it again for this one. Our first equation, first decision is this the dotted line or the solid line? Well, again, there's no equals to under the inequality, so that's going to be our dotted line. And our inequality looks like an L, so it's a less than. So on my dotted line, I'm going to put my pencil on it and draw a line straight down. And that tells me that that's the side of my dotted line that I'm going to shade. Okay, my second line is going to be my solid line. It's also an L, so a less than. So on my solid line, I'm going to put my pencil. I'm going to draw a line straight down. That tells me that that's the side of this line that I'm going to be shading. So I just go ahead and start shading it. And it looks like region 4 is the region Okay, so now they've given us a point, and they want us to determine if this point is part of the solution. The graph they've given us is just showing the solution, the double shaded part. So what we're going to do is we're going to graph the point they gave us, 4, 1. So if I go out here to 4, 1, and I put a point, it's kind of right there, now near the bottom of my shaded solution. But this point does exist in the middle of my double shaded, so yes, this is a solution. Now they give us another point, 0, 5, which is way up here. And that is not in my double shaded region, so no, that's not a solution. Okay, so what we're going to be doing for classwork is we're going to be actually taking a system of inequalities and graphing them. So we're going to use our calculator to do this for the most part. So starting on number 7, we've got y is greater than -2. Well, we know that a y is greater than -2 has no slope, so that's a horizontal line. And I can look at it and see that that's going to be a dotted or a dashed line going across at -2. And then I look and it says greater than, so I want to shade everything above my line. Now my second equation is y is less than or equal to 3x. And it's going to be a solid line. And so it's going to go about like this, a solid line. Now to decide, I'm going to shade it below or less than. It's a very steep line, so that's hard to see. But if I put my pencil on the solid line and draw a line straight down, that shows me that I'm going to be shading everything on this side of my line. So if I look, I can really see that my solution is really everything kind of in this double shaded area. So I'm going to double shade it in purple so we can see for sure that that's the double shaded area. So that's my solution. Okay? This next one, we have y is greater than or equal to x minus 2. So I know it's a solid line. X minus 2 means I'm going to start at the negative 2. And I'm going to go up 1 over 1 because I have a slope of x of 1. So I'm just going to draw my solid line, kind of. And then it says I'm going to shade greater than or equal to. So I'm going to put my pencil on the solid line, draw straight up, and that tells me that this is the side of the line that needs shading. Now my second one is y is less than negative x plus 2. So plus 2 means I'm going to start here at the 2. Negative x means I'm going down 1 over 1, and it's going to be a dotted line. So this is my dotted line. It's kind of a sad looking one, but there it is. And I'm going to put my pencil on the dotted line and draw straight down because it's less than. And that tells me that everything on this side of the dotted line is to be shaded. So I can look and see that right here, between my dotted line and my solid line, this little wedge is going to be my double shaded area. So I'm going to just double it up so we can see it. Okay, on this next one, number 9, we actually have to get it ready to go into the calculator. So I'm going to put my parentheses, opposite of x, close my parentheses and divide by 3. My other one's parentheses. I already have my x over there, so it's opposite of the other one. So opposite of negative 1 is plus 1. Close my parentheses and divide by 1. So go ahead and just put those into the calculator and it will give us our graph. I'm not going to graph them on this video. If you have any other questions, make sure you come into tutoring and get it all worked out.